All right, this is Duncan Squires, captain of the team, or there's some official thing that I don't know.
Team Executive Officer.
There we go. All right, what did you think of the game?
The game this year is a lot different from the games that we had in the past. Like for instance, last year was Ultimate Frisbee, and this year is like a combination between hockey and soccer or something. There aren't any game-breaking things, like you can't shoot full court. Like last year, I know was the biggest thing. If you shot full court, you're pretty much in the finals. I like it more than the years before, also because you don't have one powerhouse team that can carry the whole alliance. You need all three teams have to work well synchronized to ensure that they carry the victory.
All right. Did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve the problems?
2.5-4. Alrighty. She was having an animal crackle jump across the camera. So, what was the question?
Did you run into any problems? And if so, how did you solve these problems?
Will this be edited at all?
I might edit it a little bit.
Alrighty. Because I don't want to start laughing. Anyway. Any problems that we came across? Well, I personally didn't come across any problems, but generally if a sub-team or build or business has a problem, then it usually becomes my problem. I think the biggest problem that we had this week at least was probably finding a way to properly tension the surgical tubing used in our catapult. I know that we were testing outside yesterday, the bands kept breaking over and over again. Well, not the bands themselves, the connection, so we had to think of a new way to make sure they wouldn't come apart. Maybe we tried tying them, so we're going to go outside and test it and hopefully find out what works best.
Have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
Good ideas as in what?
For
the robot or
yeah, for the robot or just in general?
Well, we'll skip that question. We'll come back to that.
All right. How do you think the team overall did this week?
I was very proud of what are you doing, Brittany? What are you giving him a stare down for?
She wants me to say a blooper question.
That'll be next, don't worry. So, how I feel the team went this week? Well, I think the team as a whole, the week is right on time, if not ahead of schedule. I know the very first Sunday, we lost a day due to weather conditions and our school was closed, so we weren't able to join in the school. I was very happy with where we are right now. I was afraid that we're going to be behind, if not further behind than we are now. But I mean, most sub teams are done what they have to do for the next couple weeks, and they're helping out wherever it's necessary. So hopefully, we can get a working robot in the next 2 weeks, so we're able to practice all the last week.
All right. How frequently do you change your shoelaces?
Personally, depending on the shoes I wear, like my Vans, I will change them out based on the season. Just kidding, I don't. I'm a very boring person. If I see cool shoelaces like white, black checkerboard, I'll probably pick them up. But that's about it.
All right, all right. Who, in your opinion, was the MVM of the week?
Most valuable member this week. Can I call it a sub-team instead of just one person?
You can do a sub-team.
I have to give a shout out to CAD, probably in particular Jared, Nathaniel, or Clayton, one of those three, because those are our CAD members. They are putting in a lot of work and they're hustling, trying to get a prototype down so we can worry about geometry and where the ball fits in our frame perimeter and everything. So they're definitely getting shot at from all sides from all different sub-teams with information getting thrown at them. And I think they're handling it very well. I think they're almost done with the prototype actually, so.
All right, and then anything else you want to mention?
No.
No? Nothing.
Maybe not. Let me think about it for a second. You can stop recording, but... Or not.
No, we'll keep recording.
Hi, camera. Let's see. Anything else I would like to mention?
Okay, Chris Mylon, co-captain of the team and captain of the sponsorships sub-team. What did your sub-team accomplish this week?
This week we made a list of potential sponsors and we sent each of them a sponsorship packet so we can hopefully have them as a sponsor.
All right, what do you think of the game?
I think it's an interesting concept this year. It's mostly passing and catching. There's not a whole other lot of ways to get points, and there's no end game, which is kind of weird.
How do you think we did this week?
I think that the team did good this week. We got the prototype done. We have sponsorship lists sent out, and they're making blankets now for the shelters.
Okay, who in your opinion was the MVM of the week?
In my opinion, I would say Amber Robinson. She did a really good job organizing events this week.
Anything else you want to mention? This is Alex Cooper, captain of Build, or his official title, if he'll say it
Build
himself.
Operations Officer.
All right. What do you think of the game?
It's definitely interesting. It seems simple, but it's actually more complicated, so it's proven a good challenge, and it's interesting seeing how we're going to build a robot this year.
Did you run into any problems this week? If so, how did you solve those problems?
The only problems we've run into is with mechanisms. Our launcher had some problems. I think some of the wood snapped, and the elastic holding it together also snapped, but all we had to do was go back, redesign it, make it sturdier.
All right. Have you come up with any good ideas this past week yourself, or seen any in general?
Well, I'm more interested in my sub-team's ideas. Definitely Mech, they had a lot of good ideas on the ball intake and the launching, and it's very ingenuitive. I've never would have thought of the ideas they've come up with.
All right. How do you think the team itself did this week?
We were very productive. Build went really far. We've already got prototypes on the way. The chassis is already finished, and we've already got programming working on recognizing the hot goal.
All right. How do you like animal crackers?
They're delicious.
Are they?
My whole childhood.
There's one for you. Oh, you dropped it.
Another one. Go. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then, who, in your opinion, was the MVM of the week?
I have to say Ryan.
Ryan?
Collins. He's the Met captain, and he had a lot of good ideas and pushed through and persevered.
But he didn't turn in his daily task sheets.
That, though.
He needs to work
Nobody's
on that.
perfect.
And then, anything else you'd like to mention?
Not much, no, except Brittany's about to throw an animal cracker at me.
All right, this is Ryan Collins, captain of Mechanisms. All right, well, what did your sub-team accomplish this week, Ryan?
This week we finished up some of the prototypes that we started last week. We worked on the roller arm intake mechanism, which basically is two arms that come down with rollers running in between it. You run the motors forward, it spins the wheels suck in the ball. You bring it back, reverse the wheels, ejects the ball. So we got that finished. We were testing it out, it seemed to work pretty well. Right now we're working on the final version of that. It's going to go into the robot sometime soon, hopefully. We also worked on the catapult that we had started last week. Last week we had just used a basic U-frame and some surgical tubing running to a wooden block that we pulled back and it would let go. This week we worked on the rubber band type things made of surgical tubing. We got those finished Friday, tested them out. We got a total of 240 pounds of force, which equates to about 1,060 newtons, for those of you who know that.
All right. What do you think of the game?
The game's interesting. It's relying a lot on teamwork, which, while it certainly has its good aspects, I'm not sure if it's going to happen all the time, but we'll see. It's definitely a lot more interesting than last year's game, I can tell you that. There's a lot more strategies that are out there.
All right, what do you think are animal crackers?
They're mean.
Okay, did you run into any problems other than Brittany throwing animal crackers that you had missing? If so, how did you solve those problems?
I'll do it. We read.
Just go with it.
Okay. We ran into a kind of a small problem. We pulled back on the catapult and it kind of ripped itself off its foundation. So we kind of had to rebuild that so it could withstand the 240 pounds of force that we were putting on it. Once we got that done, it worked pretty well without much breaking.
That's good. Have you come up with any good or different ideas this past week?
More so we're continuing off of ideas. We did come up with a mechanism to cock back our catapult. Before we were talking about just using a transmission that was torqued to anything. Like, it was ridiculous what we were going to buy. But we decided that would be not exactly the most efficient way to do it, so instead we created something that would release the tension off. It was basically a scissor lift that was attached to the rubber bands, and when we were trying to cock the catapult, we would bring it forward, releasing the tension on the rubber bands, then we could cock it back, and then we would pull it back. That would give it the tension it needs to fire.
All right. How often do you change your shoelaces?
You're supposed to change them?
Well, you can.
That's boring.
Okay. How do you think the team overall did this week?
I feel it did pretty well. I think we're definitely ahead of schedule compared to previous years.
All right. This is Eric Johnson, captain of Drive. Eric, how do you think, or what did your sub team accomplish this week?
the drive team finished building the drive chassis, and we also ordered the parts from Vexpro that we're going to use for the final design.
All right, what did you think of the game?
It's kind of hard, I guess. It's going to be really hard this year. There's a lot of teamwork that's going to have to happen in order for any team to be successful. So, yeah, but it was really interesting.
Did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
I guess the biggest problem was not having a lot to do, because we finished the drive chassis fairly quickly, and all we've been able to do is small edits. So having to delegate different tasks to the other team members is kind of hard when there's only like one thing to do at a time.
All right, then have you come up with any good ideas this past week? Anything interesting?
Not necessarily, I guess. I mean, the only thing that we're gonna do this week is once we get the new 2-ball sim shifter, or 2-sim ball shifter, we're gonna replace the one that we have, the gearbox that we have already. But that's pretty much it.
All right, how do you like animal crackers?
Me personally, I enjoy animal crackers a lot. Thank you, actually, that much appreciated. I like animal crackers, so.
All right, how do you think we did this week?
I think we've made a lot of progress. And we'll be able to finish the robot fairly quickly. I think Mech's working quickly as well, which is a first. So.
What did you have for dinner last night?
I had pizza. It was really good. Miss Lita's pizza. I like Lita's.
Anything else you'd like to mention?
No, I think this year's going great so far. We've had a good first week, so.
All right, this is...
My name is Christopher Bernard, and I am the programming captain for Team 1111, the Power Rocks.
All right, what did your sub-team accomplish this week?
So, as the programming captain, we have various projects going on. Encoders, which count the number of revolutions that motors go. Camera vision software that tracks targeting on the field. And a few other niche projects that we have going right now. And basically this week what we had going is we got sensors to be able to sense when the field elements, the hot goal, when it was active. So basically our robot will be able to actively find the hot goal using the sensors on the robot. As well as we have encoders going right now, which basically means that we'll be able to track where we are on the field in distance, which is lovely because doing it by time is unreliable.
All right, what do you think of the game?
It's an interesting game this year. It seems simple, but I think I like that because it initiates more team play, and it makes the strategy behind games that much more important, which I think will make the game much more interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
We've come into several different problems in programming, basically just little programming bugs and little things like that. We've come along with sensors not initiating correctly. Basically what we did is just going onto forums like Chief Delphi and looking at the problems and finding that other people had the same problems and basically fixing them because other people found them out for us.
All right, have you come up with any good ideas, you or your sub-team, this past week? Anything at all?
Ideas about what?
Just in general, anything cool?
We had the idea of figuring out calculating distance off the vision software.
All right.
Which has been pretty successful, actually. We've gotten it vision tracking down to within a foot.
All right, that's really cool. How do you think the team overall did this week?
What?
How do you think the team overall did this week?
I think we're progressing on track.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying that we're like early, and I don't think you're ever early in the FRC.
All right, and then anything else you want to mention? All right, this is Mariel Pickering, captain of prototyping. What did your sub-team accomplish this week, Mariel?
We helped Mech with the catapult and getting the surgical tubing bands to the right size.
All right, what do you think of the game?
I think the game is it's cool. It really forces the teams to have teamwork and stuff.
All right, did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
Well, the big problem was mostly just kind of getting the right size for the bands, and the bands were so tightly pulled that it made the frame break, but we fixed it just by putting longer screws in.
All right, what color are your socks?
What color are my socks? I don't
Yes.
even know. They're blue and gray.
Okay, have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
I haven't personally, no.
Alright, how do you think the team did this week overall?
I think they did pretty good.
Alright, and then anything else you want to mention?
No, not really.
Alright, this is Ian Squires, Captain of Electrical and Spirit. What did your sub-team accomplish this week?
Well, this week we accomplished planning for where we put our electrical components on the chassis that Drive has built. We've also helped Drive take apart the chassis because they needed to cut off a few pieces of the chassis, and we just helped programming with their little programming robot because there's a couple wires that they needed to take out and fix. And we also helped set up the gyro on there, and that's it.
Alright, what do you think of the game?
I think it's going to be fun. I think it should be better. I think it would be better. Hopefully our robot will do better than how we did last year, because last year we did horrible. And I think the game will be fun. It'll be interesting to see what other teams have created for their robots.
Alright, did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
I don't think we ran into any problems. This is basically the only thing we've been doing is just waiting, because for right now, electrical doesn't really do that much in the beginning of build season because they're still building the robot and we can't really do anything except for fix a couple wires and stuff like that.
Okay. Have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
I've been thinking of a way to become an offensive/defensive robot because I think it would be nice if we can have like a little pole that shoots out into the bottom goal, because if we block the bottom goal, it would stop a lot of the other team from getting a lot of assist points, because it would be easier just to dunk the ball when you have like 3 assists.
Okay. How do you think the team overall did this week?
I think they've been doing good.
Alright, and then anything else you want to mention? Alright, this is Zach Chester, Captain of Pit and Field. What did your sub-team accomplish this week?
This week we accomplished building the logo, adding the retro-reflective tape to it. We built the truss, and we built the high goal.
Alright, what do you think of the game?
Honestly, I think it's pretty challenging. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing what other teams come up with.
Did you run into any problems this week, and if so, how did you solve those problems and what were they?
The only problem we discovered was that we need to update the banners going around the pit, and one of the people that's under me, Keaton, is working with that with graphics to make a new banner for it.
Alright, you're not smiling enough. How do you organize your socks?
I put 2 socks together.
Anything else? Anything else you'd like to mention about how you organize your socks?
I put them in the same drawer.
Alright. So have you guys come up with any good ideas the past week?
We have. We decided, as opposed to using Velcro, which doesn't work very well at the pit, we decided to actually use PVC going around the pit.
Alright. How do you think the team overall did this week?
I think they did pretty good. I saw Ryan's design when he was building it. It worked quite spectacularly, and they're improving it ever since.
Anything else you want to mention?
This year we found a way to shrink, I believe, 9 inches off the pit, which gives a much wider entrance, so looks a lot better to the judges and people aren't going to complain.
Alright, Nick, you're the captain of what sub-team?
Controls.
Alright. What did your sub-team accomplish this week?
We prototyped a board for selecting the autonomous program using a combination of blocks, but we determined that that would probably not be the best way of doing it, so we scrapped the idea.
Alright, what do you think of the game?
It's interesting. It's a little bit too simplistic.
Did you run into any problems this week? If so, what problems and how did you solve them?
We did not run into any problems this week, thank God.
Have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
Yes, but I'm not allowed to say them at this point in time, maybe next week.
Alright, and anything else you want to mention?
No, not really.
How do you organize your socks?
I do not organize my socks.
And then, what did you have for dinner last night?
I have no idea.
This is Jared Bishop, captain of CAD. Alright, so what did your sub-team accomplish this week?
Well, what we did is that we got the whole chassis together, working with having all the weight and everything, making sure all the electrics can fit. We've been working a lot with mech, making sure that the mechanics would work with the robot, just basic things. And we plan on working with mech a lot more throughout the season.
Alright, what do you think of the game?
The game is very interesting because, well, there's no end game, that's one thing, but also because it requires a lot more teamwork than anything else, or any other game.
Did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
Recently, when I was doing the eye properties, the chassis came out to weigh about 50 pounds more than it actually did, so I had to go through and then fix all the materials, saying what they are, and there was a problem with mech trying to figure out an idea for how to make the mechanism move, and Nathaniel and Clayton were working with them on that.
Okay, what did you have for dinner last night?
Last night?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. I didn't expect to be asked that one. I think I had pork and mashed potatoes.
Okay. How do you think the team overall did this week?
I'd say that everyone's on time, productive, and everyone's working together pretty well.
Anything else you want to mention?
Not
We
really.
have Allie Preston, captain of business, or her fancy name.
Business
which is-
operations officer. It's too long, I know.
Yeah, alright, so how do you think we did this week as a team?
We're on time! I had
Yeah.
to say that, shut up.
No, I'm okay with it. Alright, and then anything else you want to mention, since that's it?
Why is there animal crackers necessary?
Because
Why is that necessary?
that's everyone. I'm gonna get Gwen to do it next week. Alright, this is Gwen Crew, captain of PhotoVid. Alright, so what did your sub-team accomplish this week?
Alright, so this week my sub-team finished sorting through all of last year's photos and most of the ones that we've taken for this year, as well as documenting all the progress on the prototypes and just whatever the team's doing.
And giving me pictures when I ask for them. Very good.
Sometimes.
And then, what do you think of the game?
I think the game's pretty interesting. It's got a lot of components in it that make it difficult. This part's gonna have to be redone.
No, it's not. Let's continue. Did you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
We ran into some problems such as one of the hard drives recently crashed, making us lose a good bit of last year's pictures, and just complications in which we can't access the photos and edit them at the same time.
Alright, have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
Well, this week we've come up with some ideas for Flickr, I guess. We have a Flickr for the team, which will be updating pretty regularly, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Cohen came up with that idea.
Alright. How do you like animal crackers?
I think I like them over there rather than over here.
Too late.
That's a pity. How do you think we did this week as a team?
I think we did pretty well as a team this week. I mean, we're all pretty much on task and on time with everything. Most people have been doing whatever they're supposed to. It's doing pretty well.
What's your favorite song to sing in the shower?
I don't know, it depends, it changes every day.
Okay, anything else you want to mention?
R.I.P. Natasha, the Silver NASA Dragon. Very sad.
You get that reference, comment in the below the video, because I don't know what that is.
You know
Okay.
what that is.
Alright, this is Brittany Pinnell, captain of awards. That's alright. What did your sub-team accomplish this week?
We got chairman's rough draft done and the video script for the chairman's video done.
Alright, what do you think of the game?
The game is confusing, but you have a lot of teamwork with it, with your alliance.
Alright, did you run into any problems this week? If so, how did you solve those problems?
No, and no.
Alright, have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
I don't know.
Alright, what's your favorite song to sing in the shower?
I don't sing in the shower.
Alright, how do you think we did this week?
Pretty good.
And anything else you'd like to mention?
No.
Alright, this is Ellie Wood, or Eleanor Wood, captain of various things on business, and I don't know anything on build, I don't think so. But there you go, go through the list.
Okay, so I'm on fundraising, community service, and
finance.
All right, what did your sub-teams accomplish this week?
Wow, there's a lot. Okay, so for finance, we got the expense report together and all of our forms for our competitions coming up. For fundraising, we got the Valentine's Day flower posters up and around, so people are going to start giving us money, hopefully. And community service, we've been working on blankets as well as Vex outreach. So this week we designed a game, or starting to design a game to teach little kids about robotics and STEM and get them really excited about it.
All right, what did you think of the game? I know this isn't really you, but...
So I'm not on build. Okay. I'm throwing animal crackers every time I say
Yeah,
I'm not on build, so I'm not really sure, and I've never been on a robotics team before, so I don't know how the game really goes, but so far I'm pretty impressed. It's pretty cool.
Have you run into any problems? If so, how did you solve those problems?
Problems. Uncooperative team members.
All right, and then have you come up with any good ideas this past week?
Any good ideas? I'm a pretty not creative person, so no. Oh wait, no. Controls gave us some ideas for community outreach that we're really excited about.
Okay, and then how do you think we did this week as a team?
Everyone's awesome, so pretty well.
All right, how do you like animal crackers?
They're delicious, and they keep getting thrown at me.
You keep catching them, which is pretty good for robotics. And then, how frequently do you change your shoelaces?
Never.
And then, anything else you'd like to mention? Hi, I'm Casey Troxler. I'm the captain of documentation. I'm the one who brings you all the posts on the blog, and then I work on the engineer notebook that we turn in at the end of the build season. And I do the vlog posts and everything. What I think of the game is it's interesting. It definitely relies on the teamwork aspect more with your other teams, so it's a little bit more unpredictable on how your team's going to perform or not. What my sub-team accomplished is we've finally caught all the way up, and now we're posting daily on the blog for each meeting. And we're finally finishing the vlogs, or vlog, for the week 2, since we're not having one for week 1. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to have a link to the blog in the description below, and a link to the Flickr that PhotoVid updates. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. Done.
It'll still help you more.
1, 2, 3. Wow. That works. Win. Yeah, you can feel the wind.
Breezy. Breezy. Do this. Round 2.
Nothing but net.
Move back a little more. We don't have to have the robot on the front in a tournament.
Doesn't it just have to be touching?
So we're good from 18 foot to what? 14 foot?
Well, 12 was a little high, so probably 14.
So we're a 4-foot window in there for...
Okay. Kind of 8.
Four bands.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. We want to test back here first.
Yeah.
Back
Wait, what are we doing? Testing where?
Let's go back farther. Let's go back to here.
Here's 20.
Will it go?
Hold on.
Yeah, come a little closer.
No, hold on. Mark it. Come closer. Mark where that is, and then we'll go to where you are. There's 20.
Right here?
Yep, Mark.
No, here.
Oh.
And then pull back and measure how far you want to go back.
That's
Got
fine.
it?
Sorry.
Put that Sharpie in a little farther so it doesn't get back. Perfect.
So that's 20 foot. And then you go back.
We just need a little flag on it.
So let's
Yeah, but you don't want to be shooting farther from 18 because then you're shooting from the second zone.
we have to be in the white zone when they start
On the
bombing.
left side.
Yeah, on the second zone. But you want, I guess you can. You're sitting on 18 at the second zone.
Yeah.
2, 1. No, hit the top. No, it wouldn't.
All the pictures look the same.
Because if it's flat, it's going to bounce off. or bounce down. It's not going to bounce in.
3,
right?
2, 1.
Yeah, it's too high.
About this much over top of it.
That's our dead zone in the middle.
What's that, 12?
3 bands. That's 12.
3 bands you can do it. So
Oh, you put 4 bands on there. That's different.
Found the Sharpie.
Yeah, that's a mark. That's 20 foot.